you can pick off people from the back of the pack and just kind of whittle down their army as they try to run. Alright, so I want to show you the importance that positioning of your army has in a battle. You always need to be aware of the terrain that you're fighting on and try to get the best advantage you can get. Basically what you want to do with a ranged group of units like this giant clump of Marines, this is 24 Marines, you want to try to get as big of a concave around the other units as possible. So a concave would be basically having this shape versus your opponent having a shape that looks like this. Much smaller, therefore you'll have more units on the front line attacking at a time, you'll do more damage, kill their units faster, and ultimately win the battle. So I'm going to show you a equal battle. This is 24 Marines versus 24 Marines. These Marines are going to be stuck right here in this choke, and the other Marines you're going to be able to see will be able to form this nice surround right around here and just get way more shots off, and only the front maybe 1 or 2 rows of these Marines is actually going to be able to attack, while there's a lot of red Marines attacking. So let's just watch this. You see they're spreading out here, forming this big arc. There are so many more red Marines shooting than the blue Marines. They're having to fight for space, trying to get to the front, and these red Marines just cleaned up. There's 14 Marines alive versus 0 for the blue Marines. So you can see having that bigger concave makes an enormous difference on the battle. So it's easy to see how a well-positioned army at a choke point can have a much greater advantage, but actually you can even force this advantage to happen in a more open area like this. All you basically have to do is just take some of your Marines and spread them out. It doesn't have to be perfect, just spend a little bit of time giving them that slight edge so that whenever the attack does come, they can form a quicker concave around these units. So I'm just going to attack move these in here. And you'll see, since these units are already spread out a bit, they've got that concave formed instantly, whereas the red units have to spend a little time trying to get there. So it doesn't turn out to be a huge win for the blue Marines, but it's good enough. So that was the Marines spread out just kind of in a hasty, in the middle of a game kind of way. You can see it gave them a little bit of an advantage, enough of an advantage that it was certainly worth it to do that. This is the Marines lined up pretty much perfectly. Realistically, you're not really going to spend the time to do this in a real game, but I just want to show you the difference it makes. See, all these Marines are instantly attacking on the front lines. These are kind of spent wandering around, trying to find the best place to fight from. And this time with that perfect concave, we're able to keep 5 alive. So it's pretty obvious how terrain can have a really big impact on the battle, but also by positioning, you need to be aware of the positioning of your own army relative to itself. So each of these sides I've got 8 Marines and 8 Marauders. On one side I have the Marines in front and the Marauders in back. The other side I have the Marauders in front and the Marines in back. Now, what you're going to see is, because these Marines are in front on this side, and they have a range of 5, and the Marauders are in back and have a range of 6, the Marines are going to be fighting, and the Marauders are going to be able to still shoot because they're standing behind the Marines. On this side, the Marines are basically going to be trapped behind the Marauders, and they're not going to be able to do anything while the fight's going on. So let's watch this play out. You see, this line of Marauders still right here is still already firing, even though those Marines were sitting there up front, taking most of the damage and dealing a lot of damage. So because a lot of these Marauders were sitting there useless for half of the battle, the red Terran comes out pretty far ahead. So this is a pretty obvious example, but I'm just going to show it real quick anyway. I have a High Templar and Zealot army here, pretty standard, could happen. And then I have a Marine Marauder ball over here, and I'm just going to show how effective these storms can be on the Marine and Marauders whenever they're all cut up in this choke right here. These storms are going to be able to hit so many of these units. And you can see, because of those good storms, I'm just going to handily win the battle. I don't think that battle would have gone nearly as well if it wasn't in that choke point. People in StarCraft 2 say that high ground is not as important as it was in StarCraft 1, and that's probably true, but there's actually still a pretty decent benefit from having a high ground advantage. What I'm going to be doing with this Colossus is I'm basically going to be bouncing up and down from this ledge so that these Hydralisks can never actually catch me, and they shouldn't be able to hit me very much. I've got the extended thermal lance upgrade for the Colossus, giving him a range of 9, versus the Hydralisks unupgraded have a range of 5. So this is a range advantage I have for sure, and then I'm also abusing a positional advantage. So honestly, these units are going to act a little bit stupid just because the AI is not that great, but I think the point still remains. I can basically bounce back from this ledge here as much as I want, and the Hydralisk should never be able to actually catch me.
Alright, so that was basically StarCraft Micro. There's way more to it than I could possibly show in this video. It's really, I like to think of it, it really seems like a game within a game. The whole micro versus macro, and in my opinion, micro is really fun. I spend a lot of time inside that unit tester, especially when the beta's down, just like playing around with different stuff, get my Uber micro going down. It's really fun. Anyway, so I hope you got something out of this. If you didn't, if you're like sitting there watching, you're like, oh man, this is super easy, I know all of this stuff, then this video wasn't for you. This video is for your friend that you have that doesn't play StarCraft, and pretty soon he's going to buy the game, because everyone's going to buy it when it comes out. I want you to send my video to him, so I can teach him how to play, so you don't have to. You don't want to teach him all the newbie stuff, it's not fun. Let me do it. So seriously, take my link. There's some like Facebook links down here. There's like a share. You can send the link out or whatever, or just send the hyperlink up there. Send it to one of your friends and get them to watch it. I'm super excited about everything that's happening with StarCraft 2 right now. I think it's really going to blow up in a bit, so I'm excited about getting more players into the competitive scene. So I'll see you next time. Next time we're going to be talking about build orders and timings, and that's going to be another really important and fun video. So I'll see you next time.